Hi friends, my name is Victoria and I work for a place called the Steelworks Museum. And here at the museum, we teach people about steel, how it's made, what you can do with it once it's made, the people who made it, and in particular, a very special place that makes the steel. Today, this place is called Evraz, but for 121 years, this steel mill here in Pueblo was called CF&I, and that stands for Colorado Fuel and Iron Company. This is a very special and important place in Pueblo's history, and because of its importance, Pueblo is called the Steel City. So today I'm going to read a story to you called Steel Town, and it was written by a person called Jonah Winter and illustrated by Terry Widener. Now this story is not about Pueblo, it's actually about a steel mill town in Alabama. But this steel town that they're talking about in this story and Pueblo are very, very similar. So let me share the screen here so that you can see the pictures that are in this book. Okay. In Steel Town, it's always dark and the street lamps are always lit. At dawn, the workers get out of bed and take the stairs down Goat Path Hill, down to their jobs at the iron and steel mills. Each man carries a thermos full of coffee, hot and black, black and hot. Other men, tired and dirty, walk up the stairs, coming home from the late night shift, ready for bed, ready for sleep. Down below, down in the valley, black smoke puffs from the smokestacks. In Steel Town, the mills never sleep. In Steel Town, it's always raining, but no one carries an umbrella. You walk beneath the railroad trestle, then walk back into the rain. Your face stays the same. In Steel Town, there's the steel mill and the iron mill. If you work at the steel mill, you stay on this side. If you work at the iron mill, you make your way across the Birmingham Bridge. Barges carrying coal go up and down the pitch black river all day long, all night long, carrying coal from the midnight mountains way up yonder, far away. In Steel Town, freight trains carrying coal and steel are always grinding in and out of the mills, all day long, all night long, squeaking and grinding and rumbling by, squeaking and grinding and rumbling by. Big heaps of coal are what you see as you get near the iron mill. Coal heaps, and iron ore heaps. Inside the mill, it's like another world. Fire and smoke, fire and smoke. No matter the time of day or night, the men keep working. The machines don't stop. Fire and smoke, fire and smoke. The coal comes rolling into the mill on a little train they call the Larry. The coal goes into the beehive oven and gets turned into a thing called coke. One man scrapes the coke out and onto a rolling conveyor belt. One man makes the conveyor belt go. One man gets the boxcar ready and the coke gets dumped in the boxcar. Iron ore goes into another boxcar. Limestone goes into another boxcar. These are the things that you need to make iron. The boxcar man straightens his hat and puts his train into gear. The boxcars go to the center of the mill, to the place where they make the iron, the mighty, fiery blast furnace. The skip car operator operates the skip car that carries the iron ore and coke and limestone all the way up to the top. The hot blast operator blasts hot air into the blast furnace until the inside gets as hot as blazes, 3,000 degrees. Outside the furnace, it's so hot you have to wear a big, heavy, fireproof suit from head to toe. Inside the suit, it's hotter than the hottest desert. Outside the furnace, it's so hot you'd die if you took the suit off. Outside the furnace, it's so loud you can't hear anything except for the roar. You can't talk. You can't do anything except for work. Work and sweat, work and sweat. One man peeps through a little peephole into the inside part of the furnace. What he sees is molten iron, ready to pour, ready to tap. He signals to the monkey boss, who drills through a plug in the side of the furnace. That's called tapping the furnace. Hot pig iron comes gushing out. Pig iron's what they call it before it gets turned into steel. It runs in a flaming river down through a gutter on the floor. Men step through the molten iron wearing big wooden shoes so their feet don't get burned. They skim the slag off the top of the iron. The slag is what they don't want. Red and writhing molten pig iron snakes its way through a hole in the floor and down into the ladle cars, waiting to be filled. When the ladle cars are full, the foreman signals to the hot car men, and he pulls the lever, and off goes the train. Off goes the train across the hot metal bridge and over the pitch-black river to the place where the pig iron gets turned into steel, the steel mill. Inside the steel mill, the crane man waits for the hot car man. When the train is in place, the crane man pulls a lever. The big crane picks up each big ladle sloshing full of hot molten pig iron and dumps it into the open hearth furnace. This is how they make steel. Inside the hearth, the pig iron bubbles along with lots of other stuff that'll turn that pig iron into steel. When the hearth is full, a man taps the plug, and out comes the steel, hot as fire, flowing into another big ladle that dumps it all into smaller vats, 5 tons each, about the size of 2 men. Just like clockwork, the crane man hoists the small vats onto another train. Just like clockwork, the rail tractor man hauls the small vats away. The steam whistle blows. Lunch break! At the mill canteen, you can get a 5-cent hot dog. You can drink your coffee, and if there's time, you can play a game of cards. When lunch break is over, though, it's hard work again. back to the fire, back to the roar. This is where it all begins. Big beams used to make buildings and bridges and railroad cars. Big sheets used to make cars and ships and airplanes and cans that food goes into. Steel, steel, everywhere steel. This is where it all begins. These are the men who make the steel. Strong backs, bones, muscles, and sweat are what make the steel. 1 man, 2 men, 3 men, 4 men, move it along on the rolling mills till it's lifted by cranes into railroad cars and taken away to the other world beyond the midnight mountains. Another shift is over. Time to punch the time card. Time to get paid. 3 crinkly bills in a grimy hand. That means food. That means time to go home. In Steeltown, at the end of the day, you walk past a church with an onion-shaped dome right next door to the mill. Inside the open doors, you see old Russian ladies praying and whispering and lighting candles. A few doors down from the church, you might walk past the neighborhood pool hall. Maybe you step inside for a game. Maybe you sit down and rest a while. Then comes the slow climb back up the stairs, back up the hillside, and the evening shift is going down. On Goat Path Hill, where the workers live, the skinniest houses in the world stand side by side, crowded together. On Grapevine Lane, neighbors talk over backyard fences, trading things from their gardens: green peppers, red tomatoes, onions and figs, buckets of grapes. In Steeltown, the men sit down while the women cook. In one house, they cook big pots of red spaghetti sauce. Next door, they cook big pots of pierogies, which are little Polish dumplings stuffed with potatoes and covered in butter and onions. After dinner, people sit on porches and watch the rain fall over the steel mill, over the iron mill, down in the valley. Someone's radio is always playing off in the distance. Every time it rains pennies from heaven. In Steeltown, the iron and steel mills never sleep, but sometimes the people do. Good night, Steeltown. Well, I hope that you like that story and that you and your teacher can learn more about Pueblo and Pueblo Steel Mill CF&I as you go through this school year. Thanks for listening.